Chicago, 1923. It was a gloomy September 23rd when it started. Chicago's a lady that's in turmoil, unruly and violent, riddled with crime. The city needs an upstanding man, one who's firm, rigid, one who's not gonna lie down and take it. Chicago's a lady that needs Dick. Dick Tracy, the private investigator. It's been 2 years after the events of the Skeleton Town storyline. Dick Tracy returns to his investigating work, but always keeping an eye open for anything otherworldly. It's a tough world when you made a character that's a heavy drinker, and then immediately after character creation, remember there was a Prohibition era, and it's illegal to drink. And then Tracy suddenly had to have an entire subplot narrative on the fly that your private investigator was busting up speakeasies and confiscating the alcohol for himself. That way he had the booze when he needed for his alcohol addiction. Since the Alaska storyline, his works returned to normal. Until one day, Dick Tracy receives a package in the mail. A strange, old book written with weird writing. The package was sent from a Baxter Wilcott in New York City. Tracy doesn't recognize the name and doesn't have any friends out there. He goes, not this shit again. He takes the book, stuffs it in the safe, and forgets about it. Who knows what it could be, but it's probably not some really important plotline information the GM is trying to give you. But no, he's probably too busy for plot hooks. You're right, you probably have better things to do, Dick Tracy. Let me just throw it in the safe. That's fine. There's no problem with that. That night, Tracy gets woken up hearing a long scream at the window. He notices 3 long claw marks as something is scratching at the window trying to get in. He doesn't see anything, but the lights seem to get dim and the hairs on his arm stand up. He knows something's out there. The glass shatters open, the wooden frame cracking. Something large enters his room. Tracy whips out his gun from the nightstand and fires several shots, but it passes cleanly through the air, striking nothing. Panicking, he flees, opens up the safe, pulls out the book, and races out of the suite. On his way down, a woman is in the hall, looking around and wondering about the gunshots.
What was that? Was there a gun? Was someone firing a shot?
Get back to your room!
Tracy screamed at her. You can't tell me what to do. Nuh-uh, son. I'll do what I want.
As he raced past, he looked back to see the woman picked up by the invisible creature, which then twisted her body and ripped her like a rag doll, splitting her intestines out onto the ground.
Ah!
Tracy raced downstairs to the car. However, he didn't have any ranks in driving. He usually has his butler drive for him. So, he gunned the engine out of the parking lot, down the street, plowing through several vendor stalls and slamming into the side of a building. Dick was arrested and hauled away by the police, who said that they had heard reports of gunshots, a murdered woman, followed by Dick trying to flee the scene. In the jail, several hours later, Dick felt the dark presence once again.
Zylan? Is that you?
He felt it getting closer.
Are you after the book? Me? Can we make a deal?
As he's panicking, the metal bars of a cell groan as they are forcefully pushed aside. The thing approaches Tracy, picks him up, and he feels a stabbing pain as the claws rake across his chest. Then, behind him, the glow streaks in from the morning. The grip of the creature slips away, and it's gone. He's alone in his cell.
Huh. Guess the thing hates the sunlight.
Tracy leaves the broken cell. Out in the front offices, he sees 3 dead police officers. Tracy steals his stuff back, calls his butler to pick him up with a car, and the 2 flee the scene. Later, on the TV, is Tracy's face.
Police are looking for this person, Richard Tracy, who may be responsible for 4 deaths and escaped from prison this morning.
Wait, Tracy said.
Wait, they didn't have TVs in the 1920s, though.
On the radio, you hear a news report plus a detailed description of Mr. Tracy. We cut over to a hangar where Walter, his engineering friend, was working on a plane of a new player. Her name was Jane, and she was a pilot. Walter heard on the radio,
Police are after Dick Tracy as a suspicious individual on the deaths of 4 people, and his ears perk up.
Tracy, what have you gotten yourself into this time?
Jane goes,
You know him? Yeah, I did a job for him up in Alaska.
As they're talking, Dick Tracy's car blows into the hangar, and he collapses out.
Walter, you gotta help me.
They try to persuade the pilot to fly them out of here. Jane's like,
I don't know, he is a criminal.
Tracy pulls out a stack of cash to the pilot, who snatches it up.
For the right price, I can take Dick anywhere.
The group decides to fly to New York City to try and uncover who this mysterious Baxter Wilcott character is and figure out why did he send the package to him. The trail leads them to Baxter Wilcott's law offices, where he practices as a lawyer, but the area is cordoned off by the police. He's dead, murdered in his office 2 days before. They start rifling through his office and find that one of his clients was a relative of Tracy, an uncle, Alvin Tracy. Not surprisingly, his uncle is also dead, but he died from a heart attack last week. The group go to the coroner's office, faking paperwork to get inside. The lawyer had been viciously mauled as if by some kind of animal. As they're examining the pieces of him, the eyes on the severed head snap open and look at Tracy.
Hello, Tracy.
He goes, Tracy drops the severed head, which rolls away on the ground.
What's wrong with that reaction? Your uncle, he didn't tell you about me. That's such a shame, 'cause he and we go a long way back. What do you want from me? Me? I want to rip your insides out. I want to see you die before me.
The severed head opened up his mouth and a horde of spiders clawed their way out, spreading out towards them.
Who are you?
They shout at the headless corpse. The coroner enters, shocked to see Walter and Dick yelling at the corpse. They're kicked out of the facility. On the way out, the group took his uncle's personal effects and left. Inside, they found a set of bracelets and a recording. After a small debate about whether or not they had tapes back then, they didn't. We actually found out they were invented sometimes in the 1940s or 50s. I can't remember. Anyway, they get a recording from Alvin Tracy. They send Dick to listen to the recording by himself, away from everyone else. On the recording, his uncle, Alvin Tracy, sounded weak and feeble. He clearly had made this recording when he was very sick.
Richard, this is your uncle speaking. If you're listening to this, then I'm already passed on. There is a chance that there's something after you, the one we call the stranger. It has all started back when I was in the university. I got myself involved with a society. Several of the members had claimed that they had gotten real magic books, spells even. Initially, I had my doubts, but I noticed after they would try to cast their supposed magic, strange things would happen. Were they really able to manipulate the world? Or was this merely what psychologists were describing as confirmation bias? Things that were just too coincidental. And on the other hand, the human mind is all too easy to explain away things that it cannot understand. The society eventually decided that they wanted to perform a ritual, a powerful one that was said to have opened up a portal to the beyond. I was skeptical, but curious as well, so I went with them. We traveled out to an abandoned house far from the school, where no one could hear our chanting. Out here, in the middle of nowhere, we performed the ritual. For hours, it seemed like nothing was happening. It was terribly tiring and boring work. Many thought it was nothing but a waste of time. Oh, how I wish it was. However, after the ritual came to its end, the smoke from the candle swirled and filled the room. I'm sorry. It is difficult for me to recollect this part. All my mind is slipping from me, and I cannot remember much of anything anymore. To this day, I still remember that chill. It was like opening a doorway from a warm house into the winter night sky. But what was strange was the sounds, the whispers, the cries echoing through the nothingness. Many skeptics there thought it was some kind of prank or something. But I knew different. It was growling, angry, and hungry. And those eyes, I could feel them. I could feel the universe looking back at me. I noticed something slipped into our room. The group began to panic, crying out, screaming. Having studied the verses of magic myself, I used the blood and performed a ritual which bound the creature to this location, trapping it. The group fled from that house. In the days that followed, we would hardly ever talk about it. The incident was brought up. It was referenced as some kind of a practical joke, a hazing ritual where the seniors had tried to scare the juniors, and I did not see the need to fix their ignorance. Those of us burdened with the accursed understanding knew otherwise. Days passed, then weeks. The leaves changed from fall to winter to spring. Until 26 years after that day, I found myself waking up at night with a nervous sweat, saying strange things in my sleep. My wife asked me to go see a psychologist. After years of refusal, I reluctantly went and told the psychologist my secret. She reassured me that it was all in my head, that I'm misremembering the details, and I believed her. My psychologist had recommended that I go back to the house where we summoned the stranger. If I go there, she said, it would help me move past this. So, I did just that. As I walked up the lane towards the front door, I feel like I'm being watched, and I notice a shadow in the window of some kind of thing that I can scarcely find the words to describe. I just knew it was the stranger. I heard the growling coming from it. The stranger was angry. It was so angry at me. In my panic, I fled from the place, looking over my shoulder. But it did not pursue. It was still bound to that accursed house. I have returned back home. Decades have passed since then, and I've become an old man now. Sometimes I try to lie to myself, saying over and over that I saw nothing. But I know otherwise. My wife thinks I've gone mad, but I know better. I thought that maybe I should go back to that place, finish the ritual, and send the stranger back from whence it came. But my mind is weak, and I am scared. I just don't have the courage to go back there and confront the stranger. Having studied the verses of magic myself, I know that when the last of us from the society dies, it will no longer be bound by this blood pact of ours. And the thing will escape, and from my own fear, and my guilt, and my shame, will die with me. Richard, I'm having a lawyer send a book. It details the Outer Ones, and the things that we know about them. You'll also find in the boxes several bracelets. A hex has been placed on them, so that the stranger cannot touch you. There is a ritual. It must be performed over 2 hours at the location where he was summoned. I know what I must do, but I am too old, and my heart cannot take it. Many nights I am plagued with doubt, wondering if some unfortunate soul happened upon that place, what would be their fate? It has been since I was a child that I could look out onto the street with the lights coming from the windows, seeing the shadows moving, without wondering if they are coming for me. I constantly panic that this will be the night I go to sleep and don't wake up from it. Sometimes I wonder if it would maybe have been better had I died to the stranger, so that I would not lay awake at night, riddled with the guilt of what we did and filled with doubt. Unfortunately, my nephew, you must fix what I have failed. I am deeply sorry for what I have done to you, and am too much a coward to tell you while I'm alive. But I hope that you can come to understand.
The recording came to an end. Dick Tracy comes out from the back room. God damn it! Fuck! damn it, that piece of fucking shit. He slams open the door, comes out to talk with us. My son of a bitch uncle, that piece of shit, fucked us all over by opening a stupid portal to the stupid outer realms. He tells the story of how this creature, the stranger, is out to get him as revenge for something that his uncle did. Jane listens intently to the story.
Oh, so you're saying that the stranger is thirsty for his blood after his blood of vengeance?
Yeah, that's it.
I guess it seems like he sounds like he's after my friend over here.
Yes, that is exactly what I spent the last, hour explaining to you. So it's good that you got it.
Well, I guess you could say it sounds like this monster's thirsty for my dick.
Boo! The party boards a plane, and the group flies out to Alabama. They get a car and drive into a small town. The players go into a gas station, asking, "Hey, we're looking for a house, I don't know if you guys have seen it," and they describe it. The attendant goes. He points away. "You best turn around here and be heading out, and don't you be coming back." "Wait, no, we get it, but we're here to help." "People hear things coming from that place. It's dangerous, and there's trouble there if you're going." "Please, but really, we want to stop it." The store owner reluctantly agrees. "It's the Carvald place. There's a sign out in front of it." Above the rows of corn peeks the roof of the house. Up a long lane sits the old, decayed, decrepit, 2-story farmhouse with a barn out back. Out here, it's hauntingly quiet, as if the birds and the animals know to stay away. The sun goes down. They prepare for the ritual, which should start at 10 p.m. and last till midnight. They put down some blood and form a circle with lit candles all around. As the ritual begins, they start chanting. 30 minutes pass. 30 minutes pass. Nothing happens. Then the house creaks and groans as the thing moves it back and forth, making noises from the house and trying to distract them. They hear a rustling as the thing bounds out of the house, into the corn rows, and out into the fields. Outside, they hear, "Help! Help! Help!" Tracy sighs. "I'll go get them. You guys don't stop no matter what. I'm gonna bring them back in." With his flashlight and gun out, Tracy weaves his way through the corn, listening. Through the brush, he hears someone loudly going, "Please, please, someone, help me." Tracy gets to an open patch of field. On the ground is a bleeding man. He is face down. "Oh, thank you for saving me." Tracy shakes him. "Come on, we have to go. There's something nearby." Tracy flips him over. On the other side, he sees that half of the man's face is ripped off. The jaw is barely hanging off, which shouldn't be able to produce words. In the center of the man's chest is a gaping hole where his heart should be. This man was clearly dead. The body says, "My hero." The thing is just using the corpse as a meat puppet. It lurches forward trying to grab at him, but Tracy dodges out of the way. Tracy runs through the corn rows. On his heel was the animated corpse. He sprints back to the house, slamming the door after him and leaning up on it. They hear a voice. "No, no, not you, not now." Acid begins dripping from the ceiling. The players have to move around to avoid it. Then, finally, once the ritual is nearing its end, the smoke coalesces into a swirling cloud. From outside, the monster was drawn into the swirling vortex, trapped in the circle. A portal opens. The stranger devolves into a mass of mouths and was sucked out into space. From beyond, they could hear the writhing, screaming nothingness. For a brief moment, they could see into the darkness, and the darkness could look back into them. The portal closed, the flames went out, and the place was silent. In the aftermath of that incident, after a lengthy investigation, Tracy was fined, but ultimately let go. The family he had helped in Alaska was wealthy and were able to get him off with a family lawyer. A forensics investigation had uncovered that the police officers had been killed by claw and bite marks of an animal of some kind. Did they have forensics in the 1920s? Whatever. Anyway, it proved that there was no way Tracy could have done that. But how any wild animal got to them in the middle of Chicago was anyone's guess. After that, the players made jokes about anxiously waiting for their other relatives to get back them. Nephews, aunts, grandparents. Wow, what a coincidence. All of them made dealings with dark powers. Now, like maybe in the future, they're just not going to go to as many family get-togethers, Christmas and stuff. Just kind of disown the rest of their family so that way this kind of thing doesn't happen again. The group was pretty adamant that when they had kids, it would be forbidden for any of them to study history, ancient runes, anthropology, different cultures, or any of that creepy shit. Why couldn't they be like normal kids, doing drugs, dropping out of school? Although the irony was, we joked that it might backfire as they'd go, "You can't make me, I'm going to study history whether you want me to or not." And then they would be the ones that finally summoned Cthulhu.